pause the video and read the warning disclaimer. Thank you. Off we go. Good morning and welcome to yet another demonstration flight of StraytWay. StraytWay is a navigation app I wrote myself, originally for hiking, but I tweaked it a bit so it's applicable in an aeronautical environment as a backup system, always as a backup system, not even an official backup system, but it's better to have it on your phone than nothing at all in a plane. So, today we are at the lovely town of Albertville, and we'll go there right away. So this is our position on the globe. How do we zoom in? Just center on our position and then use the plus button. You cannot pinch in StraytWay. You have to use the plus and the minus button for zooming. And there we are at the start of the runway for takeoff to the northeast. And today we're going to fly from Albertville to the Altiport of Courchevel, arguably one of the most infamous airports in the world, because it's one of those airports where you don't get to have a go around. It's either you land like you should, or you're hit the mountain, hopefully at not too high a speed. So interesting flight, and we're gonna plan that entirely in StraytWay because it's a VFR flight, so StraytWay will be our backup to get there. So how are we gonna plan our route? First of all, we need to find our destination airport, the Altiport of Courchevel. And that must be somewhere, if we follow the valley, that's the highway, goes down the valley, and right here, if we zoom in Mouchet, we have to go a bit straight and then to the east. And somewhere here is Courchevel, and there it is. There's the airport. I'm gonna zoom in. Voila, that will be our destination airport for today. It's sloped up at, I think it's 10 degrees. It slopes up from here to there, and then there is a kind of level part to park the planes. So a huge challenge. And as always, we're going to start with putting a threshold marker. So zoom in on the runway as much as you can for accuracy. That's enough, and put our first marker here, the threshold. There we are. Right away put our target there, because when we put our target on anywhere where we put our target, we can use this as relative to our target. So the bearing from the target to the crosshairs and the distance. And we're gonna establish what the true north orientation of the runway is. So we're gonna go all the way again for maximum accuracy, and also put it somewhere in the middle of the crosshairs. 223. Let's make a mental note of that. And now we're gonna go back to our threshold, and we go the other way. So we had 223 for one orientation, minus 180 is 43. We're gonna place our entry marker for our the start of our final approach leg, and we're gonna use an established waypoint for this route. If you go to the other map, so we should be at 43, sorry. If we're at 43 here, we are on the extension line to the, hold on, to the runway. Hope that makes any sense. We're gonna put it at, let's say 1. And put it at 43. Okay, so let's put our marker here. We've got our markers, we've got our 2 markers. So the line between these 2 waypoints should be the extension line of the runway, roughly. And now we're gonna calculate our pattern altitude. So the altitude we have to be at this point when we arrive. And to do that, we can again zoom in on our, just go, yeah, you can, if you click on this, you toggle to the target, so no need to swipe the map. And you can see that conveniently we're at 1930 is the ISO altitude line. So the airport is at 1930 meters. OpenStreetMap is in meters. If you convert that to feet, that's 6,332 feet. So that's the altitude of our threshold. And if you go to the other point we selected here, at 2.14 nautical miles from our threshold, at 43 degrees bearing, of course, from our threshold. Now the 2.14 nautical miles, if you use a 3-degree glide slope, if you want a 3-degree glide slope, you have to multiply this with 1,000 and then divide by 3, and then you get the altitude in feet above threshold. That should be your pattern height, which is 713. So we need to add that to the elevation of our airport. That's 6,332 feet. That's 7,045 feet. That will be our pattern altitude. Just a quick altitude check that we're not hitting a mountain at that altitude. Sorry, we were where we should have been. So if we zoom in on that waypoint, you see that the altitude is 1810, so we're even below our threshold. So there's no problem, no altitude problem. We're not gonna hit this mountain, which is called Dent de Villars. And then check the. Gonna select that waypoint, put our target there. Well, we can do that visually. So take right angles approximately, and if we go here, we're at 1,043, 1,000. Oh, we got room to spare. 1,400. So we can put ourselves over here. Let's say that we got a nice shallow intercept angle for our final approach. So we go like this, and then like this. And that's our 3-point approach pattern. Now we need to add a 4th point, and that's en route, to make sure we don't miss this turn to the east. So I'm gonna put here somewhere also a waypoint. Voila! And now we can start programming our route, which will consist of these 4 points. So very simple. Select the first one. You have to zoom in a bit, so select this one. Just click in the neighborhood. once you've selected it, you can add it as our first marker to the route. Our first waypoint, sorry. Well, first waypoint added. Our second waypoint will be this one. Second added. Our third one will be this one. Sorry, sometimes it doesn't, then you have to zoom in a bit if it doesn't really work. And you click in the neighborhood, now it works. There we are. And then finally our threshold, of course. The last one. So now we have our 4.4 waypoint route. And we can start thinking about taking off. So remember our altitude, parent altitude was 7,045 feet. Let's go to the cockpit. Here we are in the cockpit. The barometer is set. So we should change 7,045. We're gonna round it up to 7,100. That'll be our selected altitude. 7,100. There you are. Change our buck to our runway heading. And then gonna arm the heading already in the autopilot. We'll do the LFLJ once we're airborne. And that's about it. So we're ready for takeoff. A quick recap how we're gonna fly. So we're gonna follow the valley. Gonna fly, take off to the northeast, and then just get into that valley. Follow to the south till we hit that point, and then go to the east, and there we should intercept our pattern for landing on Courchevel. Back to our current waypoint, and we're gonna change screens. This is the waypoint we're going to. We should be going to waypoint 1. Waypoint 4 is our threshold. Waypoint 1, it's at 12.7 nautical miles, so it will be a short flight. I think we're set for takeoff, and here we go. Watch StraytWay come alive. As soon as we're moving, it switches to GPS track, which is very accurate. Rotate. Stabilize. Gear up. And also flaps up. And LFLJ. Switch it and autopilot. There we are. To the left, and we should see Courchevel. Sorry, Albertville, the venue of the '92 Winter Olympics in the French Alps. And we're gonna turn into that valley. That's all we're gonna do. We'll do that on site, and perhaps you can use the Bonanza to turn in that valley, so you can see the autopilot. There we are. And we'll fly nice into what does that look like? That's where we took off. And we're climbing out over Albertville to 7,100 beat. And to the right. Perfect. We're just using now, watching the GPS for the mountains a bit, though it's a very clear day. It's nice to work, but we won't be using it to navigate to the airport. There's no airport information on the GPS. Gonna use StraytWay for that. And already turn into the valley. Nicely to the right. There we are. On StraytWay we can see that we're indeed our first waypoint, remember? Where we had to turn to the east. That's at 12 nautical miles. And then it's 5 nautical miles till the first waypoint of our approach pattern. That distance remains the same because it's a distance between two waypoints, doesn't change. And we will be there in 11 minutes. We'll be on the ground in Courchevel. God willing. Let's see, check the map. You can just zoom in. We're above La Bâtie. So that should be La Bâtie, a small village. And this here, I think this is the high-speed rail. So what you see here, that's the high-speed rail coming down from Paris. So you can go ski in about 3 hours from Paris. You're in the French Alps for a fun weekend of skiing. Check our altitude. Sorry. We're almost there. 7,100. And we are leveling up. This is where I'm gonna reduce the prop speed, because we're cruising now, and that's less noise too. Just following the valley. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you can take the train from Paris in about 3 hours, and it drops you off right at the foot of the ski slopes. You have to take a funiculaire, a steep train up the mountain, and then you're in your ski resort. But not to where we are going. There you need your car, because there's no train going there. But I'll show you where the train. Don't even have to follow the valley because we're high enough. So this is where the train goes like this and then goes to the northeast, and I think it stops here in Bourg-Saint-Michel. Yes, Bourg-Saint-Maurice, and there you can take the here it is. So the train stops here, and then you can take this train or lift all the way up to the mountain without touching a car or even a bus, even public transport, all the way to Arc 1000, one of the biggest ski resorts in the world. Look at that. But we're going a bit further, and we're coming up to our 4 nautical miles, and then we have to turn to the... We're almost there. 5 minutes, we should be on the ground. So let's not get distracted. I should not forget to increase our prop speed as soon as we're... I already set the mixture, leaned out the engine because we're reasonably high. But that's nothing to do with StraytWay. So that's the valley. The train goes here. The train goes to the northeast. But we are going to continue into this valley and then all the way to there. And this is already the mountain where we're going to turn to the right, and the Altiport must be here somewhere. And we've got a straight line, so we can already initiate our turn to the left. We don't need to wait till we're at our first waypoint. That was just to make sure we don't miss the valley. But as we have identified the valley, we're going to go to our next waypoint. We'll try to more or less directly go there. So we're gonna change the autopilot a few degrees to the left till the yellow arrow points straight up. And I'm already gonna increase my prop speed soon, before I forget to do that. Or we might have a casualty. Let's enjoy the view. So we are gonna land somewhere over there. Still got some time, 3 nautical miles. I'm gonna start reducing speed and increasing my prop. For our descent. And gonna turn. Yeah, turn to the left. To the right, sorry. To get to waypoint number 3, which was the waypoint in front of the mountain, if you remember. There we are. Approximately. And our speed is perhaps a little bit too slow. Doesn't matter. Gonna change to our final waypoint. And this will be our final approach. So get ready to, we're getting ready to change course to the right. 223, and there we are. Start changing. And then we should get the Altiport in view. There it is. Here it is. Disengage autopilot. Gear out, flaps out, and let's go for 100. Looks good. Aiming for the stripes. There we are. Give some gas, otherwise we won't make it to the top. But we're fine. Make sure we don't start rolling back. And here we are, Courchevel Airport. Welcome, Courchevel, Altiport. And I think we'll park over there. That car is in the way. So we'll go over here. There we are. Welcoming Courchevel, and let's have a look outside. This is where we came from. This is we came like so, and if you have a look around, that's I think that's a hotel. We can check that in StraytWay. If you change to the other map, you get much more information about shops and hotels and stuff like that. So this is where we are, and that hotel is called Le Pilatus. And we are here with the Bonanza, not the Pilatus. Ha! Anyway, we made it, and we can take our skis, go down these slopes. There's the ski lift that you see over here, and it goes all the way down to the village over there. So that's this lift, and you can take this once you're down. You get on this lift, and then you can enjoy the Trois Vallées, which is the three valleys. And someone told me it's actually the largest ski resort in the world in numbers of kilometers, miles of ski slopes. And you can see the sheer intensity or density of ski lifts. This gives you a reference. So the diameter is 2.3 nautical miles. Look at that. Ski lift. So this is another big center, Altiport. So that's what you do when you take your plane from Albertville, or why not from Paris, and you land in Courchevel, right from the airport onto the slopes. Okay, that's it for today. I hope it was helpful, and see you for next demo on StraytWay. Bye bye.